Hello and welcome to Education at SSBG, online video tutorials with another content of class 8th, crop production and management. You know that all living organisms require food. Plants can make their food themselves. Can you recall how green plants synthesize their own food? You must have studied this in your previous classes. This process is called photosynthesis. But wait, what is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is the process by which green plants and certain other organisms transform light energy into chemical energy. During photosynthesis in green plants, light energy is captured and used to convert water, carbon dioxide, and minerals into oxygen and energy-rich organic compounds. But animals, including humans, cannot make their own food, like how the plants do. So, where do animals get their food from? But first of all, why do we have to eat food? Very funny question, isn't it? You already know that energy from food is utilized by organisms for carrying out their various functions such as digestion, respiration, excretion. And from where do we get? We get our food from plants, animals, or both. Do you know what is the population on Earth? It is 7.8 billion by the time I made this video, and it's increasing at the rate of 100 million a year. Wow! We Indians are the second most populated in the world. How can we provide food for this much of population? Should it not be equally distributed? In order to provide food for large population, regular production, proper management and distribution is necessary, isn't it? And that is why we need to learn how the crop production and management is done. But wait a minute, what is crop? To have proper supply of food to everyone, we need to cultivate food on a large scale. When plants of same kind are cultivated at one place on a large scale, it is called crop. For example, crop of wheat means that all the plants grown in the field are that of wheat. Thank you. We'll wait for the next video. Hello and welcome to Education at SSBG, online video tutorials. And we are here with another content of CBSE Class 8th, Chapter Crop Production and Management. In the previous video, we have learned the definition of crop, right? But wait a minute. Let us recall that. What is crop? When plants of same kind are cultivated at one place on a large scale is called crop. When plant of same kind are cultivated at one place on a large scale, then it is called crop. We already know that crops are of different types. And what are those types? Cereals, vegetables, fruits, and so on. These can be classified on the basis of season in which they grow. Some crops grow in winter season, some crops grow in rainy season because they want more water. India is a vast country, lots of population. The climatic conditions like temperature, humidity, and rainfall vary from one region to another. Sometimes some places more rain and there is no rain at all in some other places. Accordingly, there is a rich variety of crops grown, right? In different places of country. Despite this diversity, there are two broad cropping patterns. And what are those cropping patterns? And they are Kharif crops and Rabi crops. You must have studied this in your geography syllabus. So let us once again recall that here. And what are Kharif crops? Crops which are sown in a rainy season are called Kharif crops, right? Because those crops require more water. And when is the rainy season in India? Somewhere June to September. Slightly it varies here and there. And what are the crops grown? Paddy, maize, soyabean, groundnut, cotton, they require water to grow. And that is why they are grown in a rainy season. And they are all Kharif crops. Now next one is Rabi crops. So what you have seen is a cropping pattern, two types. Kharif crops and Rabi crops. And what are Rabi crops? The crops grown in the winter season, October to March, right, are called Rabi crops, right? And the examples of both Kharif crops and Rabi crops are on your screen. Rabi crops examples are wheat, gram, pea, mustard and linseed and so on. So here is a complete mind map, a pattern, cropping pattern in front of you. But when we talk on production of crops, once again, production of crops, what first comes in our mind is production, or let us say cultivation of crops. Many of you must have been involved in cultivation of crops at your native place. Maybe sometimes in the school. Or you must have seen some people Maybe your gardener working. So if you see the pattern of their working, the production of crop or a cultivation of crop requires some stages. You have to follow those patterns. You have to follow those stages. And what are those stages? Let us discuss shortly these stages. We shall have one more video in detailed discussion of all those stages of production of crop, but in this video, in short, we will discuss. So, first what we should do? To cultivate a crop, we have to prepare the soil for this. And what does it mean? We have to turn the soil and loosen it. And why should we do that? It allows the root to penetrate deep into it. The loosening of soil helps in growth of several soil microbes, small bacteria, and then earthworms, etc. And what do? They keep humus, wetness in the soil, and they help plants to support, to get essential nutrients. After preparing the soil, then what we do? We have to sow the seeds. So the next step is sowing the seeds. Right? So what is sowing then? Sowing is the process of planting seeds. So there is some pattern in planting seeds. It depends upon crop to crop. Right? Some seeds are to be deeply put onto the soil and some just on the surface. So once you sow the seed, then the next one is you have to add the manure or the fertilizer. The substance which are added to the soil in the form of nutrients for the healthy growth of plants are called manure and fertilizers. Manures are homemade, you can do it. We shall discuss about this little later. And the fertilizers are factory made, but both provide nutrients and help the crop to grow faster. Because on the same soil, farmer grow crops, crop after crop. So that reduces the nutrients to be present in the soil. After that, next one is we have to pour water, because water is very essential thing to grow. 90% of the plant is made of water itself. It requires water. A seeds to germinate requires water. Now, water is arranged from the well, tube well, ponds, lakes, dams, canals. In different methods are used, sprinklers, drip irrigation, and so on. So irrigation is done, it is germinated, it grows, and then after that we have some problem in the growth, because unwanted plants grow in between, and these unwanted plants disturb the other plant in their growth and development. So that is to be manually removed. And what are these unwanted plants called? They are called weeds. The process of removing these weeds is called weeding. Sometimes we have to use chemicals called weedicides. Sometimes manually you have to take it out. So protecting from weeds. After that, let's say with all that hard work, the plants have come up, and then let's say if wheat is a yield in the farm, then we have to harvest it. So the next step is harvesting. And what do you mean by harvesting? Harvesting is a process of gathering a ripe crop. Reaping is the cutting of grain or pulses. Machines are used, manually they are collected. So the entire harvesting process is to gather all these crops which are grown up. After that, the collected crop which are in large quantity are to be treated properly. The moisture is to be removed because it will spoil. It has to be dried up properly. And then last step is we have to store it. And the storage is done in many ways. Metal containers are used. Big godowns are made for it. Right? So these are the steps of cultivation of any crop. So here this unit ends. Now let us see what all we have studied from the beginning in short, right? Which will help you for your examination. So what did we study first? Cropping pattern. And cropping pattern, we have got two types: Kharif crop, Rabi crops, and why Kharif crops? They are grown in rainy season and Rabi crops are in the winter season, and here are the examples. And then we have studied on the stages, different stages of production of crops. Here are the stages of production of crops. These are important because if these questions are asked in the examination, you have to remember this. However, all this information and knowledge, if you can apply in your daily life, remembering is very easy. Somewhere when you work at your native place and when you involve in all your stages, these stages, that will help us to connect with the nature. Yes, we are done with. Thank you. The rest of the units we will see in the next video. Thank you one and all. Be strong, be healthy.